Hey, what's going on? This is Quinton Aaron, star of the Blindside, with Sandra Bullock. I'm actually here today to talk to you a little bit about the movie Venom. Now, I'm pretty sure you've been seeing sites pop up here and there, little interviews and stuff, about this campaign that's been going on. Josh Emerson for Venom. Venom, the Marvel character, being the arch nemesis of Spider-Man. The funny thing is, I actually know Josh, and he is the perfect Eddie Brock, in my opinion. I'm here today to ask Josh some questions and, get his answers so you can learn a little bit about the guy and, make your own decision. But I honestly, I feel like he's the perfect person. So we're going to go right now to Josh Emerson and learn a little bit about the man here himself.
No, I mean, I started, I guess, just basically acting in '01, and then as a child, I was always very involved in the Marvel world, had all the comics, had all the stuff, and I've just, no character had ever moved me, not even any of the protagonists like the Venom character. I just always felt that Eddie Brock himself had such a dynamic life before anything that had to do with the symbiote or Venom. So you basically have this all-American athlete, honor student type person that's always driven by this passion to please his father, and then basically in a small matter of time, his entire world just crumbles in front of him due to a couple chain reaction events, and then eventually this symbiote finds him, and when they merge, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. It's his alter ego. It's literally the Clark Kent Superman story. It's the complete opposite of what he is. Yet there's enough Brock still involved in Venom that he's not a complete terror. He's not Carnage. Yeah. Cool.
You actually did a small trailer-like project back home.
Yeah.
In Canada that you instituted a lot of it, right?
Yeah, well, it was interesting. I was actually shooting a film in Calgary at the time, and the guy that I was staying with, he heard a rumor that in the third Spider-Man they were actually going to introduce Venom. And I'd always been such a huge fan of that character, and anyone that was ever around me always knew that. And he just basically said, he's like, dude, I mean, you're that guy. And it was the first time I was really like, you know what, I agree with you. I mean, dimension, size, look, everything. I mean, I am Eddie Brock. I really feel that. Later on, we found out that they were giving Venom his own movie. And that's when this whole thing kind of went into play. I mean, City TV and down in the city came down to interview on it, and we actually had a composer contact us and ask if we would allow him to make the score for it. I was like, wow, just the support was always incredible. I mean, being not a star name or anything, the amount of support was just unreal. There's so many people all over the place. You are that guy. You are that guy. You are the guy.
I mean, you kind of fit Venom role, to the T. So.
It's one of those things that I've never believed in anything more in my life, and I wanted this. Initially, when we heard about the rumors for Spider-Man 3, we were going to make, Photoshop a cool photo, and I was a kid in this industry back then. I'd only been acting for like 4 or 5 years, but I was just willing to do anything and everything, and that didn't work out. Found out that Topher got it, which it was tough, but it is what it is, and everything happens for a reason. So yeah, it was their idea to kind of do this little trailer. I literally put every dollar I had into it. I was broke when it was done. Technology-wise, it's not the I wouldn't really compare it to anything today, but the effort was there and the story is there, and I was really proud of a lot of what we did. I felt really good about it, and I've gotten a great response. Like I said, not being like a Brad Pitt or anything, all over the world I've gotten responses on that.
The talent truly is there. I mean, you can see it. Watching the trailer, I was ready to see the full story.
But I grew up in kind of the boxing, kickboxing world, and I view everything in life in the fight world, meaning that you approach everything with a very high level of respect and humility, but you want the title. and you don't accept anything less. So I mean, I'm going for the title.
So
this is me.
Here he comes.
This is me.
Watch
There's
out.
no one better. And I mean that in the most humble way. I just really believe in what I can do. But yeah, it's I was really surprised with that. And then when the gentleman called us and was like, yeah, I scored da 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 da. I can't remember the films he scored. More of a smaller end composer, but it literally scored features. And he said, I love what you're doing. I saw this trailer online. Can I make a score for it? And it was like, yeah, that was pretty amazing. And then that got us. We got interviewed by City TV for it, which there was a little press thing for that, and that was really cool. And yeah, it made a lot of buzz at the time.
You've gotten a lot of recognition for it. I even see that you ended up on IMDb as the Venom character.
That is a very interesting story. I remember about 9:30 in the morning one day, it was a weekday, I get a call from a friend of mine, and they're like, go on IMDb now. And I went for it, just go on Pro right now. I'm like, okay. So I went on my Pro, and I see this thing on it, and it says Venom, and I go, okay. So I click on Venom, and sure enough, I of course I kept it for me, right? Not framed it, but I printed it out and everything. But they'd had Dominic Purcell and a couple other actors as some of the other characters. I can't remember the gentleman they had slated for Carnage, but right there at the bottom it had my name and Eddie Brock / Venom. And this was Columbia's page. This wasn't on my page. This wasn't something I could have went and done. Yeah, I mean, I talked to my manager about it, and he just paused, and it was like, yeah, I don't know. That was kind of the response to it. So I never really did find out what had happened there, but I'll tell you, Q, it's little things like that that just they keep you going. I mean, this is a fight. I'm one of those people, again, like I say, I'm very when I want something, I'm very fight orientated, and professional fighters, no one trains harder in the world, and I give them a lot of props for that. Friends with a few of them, and it's one of those things that you literally have to take it from my hands. I'm gonna fight it all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, that works out. That definitely.
I personally believe that if you sat down and did it, you could make a 2-hour amazing film on Brock's life before the symbiote even comes into play. That's how interesting his life is, with the twists and turns that it takes. You could easily make a movie just on him. But the fact that they want to walk down this line, to me, is amazing. I love that fact. I mean, if you go through the saga, it's amazing how, all these things happen to him. I could spend 3 hours going through this, but, he finds out, in one storyline, he finds out he has cancer, and then that causes him to just train like crazy to stay going. But he ends up taking a confession from at his job from a guy named Emil Gregg, who asks him, keep my identity a secret. He's claiming he's the real Sin Eater. Well, he ends up turning out to be a compulsive confessor. So when Brock releases this huge expose, and we find out that Spider-Man had caught the real Sin Eater, well, he looks like this big fraud, and he gets fired, and he just wants back at Spider-Man, and it causes problems at home with his wife Anne Whaling, and his life just dive bombs. Interesting thing is, there's a couple different storylines, but the symbiote in one of them, it's attracted to his rage towards Spider-Man, because Spider-Man having the symbiote first and throwing it away, the symbiote's extremely mad at Spider-Man for that. But also, the cancer cells release a certain type of adrenaline, which also attracts the symbiote. And while Brock is morphed together with the symbiote, his cancer becomes dormant. So it's kind of his only way to stay alive in one of the storylines. And it's just, the storyline of Brock, it's so deep and it's so long. He ends up tricking him to go to Mary Jane's apartment, by using her as bait, and that's their first fight. And it's just this colossal battle between these two guys that goes for years, and all these different changes. And he ends up making peace with him at one time, because in one of their fights, a big Ferris wheel almost crushes Anne, and Spider-Man saves her. So it's like, okay, we're cool now. And then there's all this other stuff that happens when Carnage comes into play because Brock is arrested and they're cellmates and the symbiote splits, asexually splits and leaves another symbiote. And he gets that, and now you have Carnage, the major villain in Venom's world. I mean, it's such a deep story. It's just I'm just really happy that they want to do this. Getting I was in Vancouver actually on a CW show called Hellcats at the time, and it was a Saturday morning, and I get a call. It's about 10 a.m. Literally woke me up, and it was my manager. No hi, no how's it going. The only thing out of his mouth: get on a plane to LA. Okay, I've never had a call like that before. So within 2 hours, I'm at the Vancouver airport. I fly into LAX. I get picked up by my best friend Mark, and he drives me to Sony Columbia, the studio there. I go inside and I go in this room, and it's Mark Webb, the director of Amazing Spider-Man, and about 5 or 6 execs, and I believe they were both from Marvel and Sony. I'm not positive, it's just a little blurry, but and I ended up it was weird because they were keeping it so secret that the sides weren't even the right names, but I was actually told when I flew down that the role of Flash in the new Amazing Spider-Man with the one where Andrew Garfield plays Parker, that it was down to me and another young gentleman named, I believe his name is Chris Zilka. And I went in, and Mark was great. He was very interactive with you, and the reader was very interactive. Like, they slammed me up against a wall at one point. I love that stuff. I mean, just being the bigger guy, I like the physical,
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like a good 15 minutes, maybe longer, and most auditions are a minute if you're lucky. And this was they went through a big process. It was a lot of fun, actually. And I found out a couple days later that that I had lost to Chris, and I was so devastated about that, because just being involved in Spider-Man would be great. But I said before, this is really how I took it, and I truly believe this. I said before that things happen for a reason. Well, if I would have become Flash, it would have been very hard to play Brock.
Yeah. And
I truly believe with all my heart that was what, out of all the roles I've ever done, that is what I was put here to do.
Wow, that's crazy. Right? It's a small world, man. Small world.
I don't know. It's weird. It's the only thing I've ever come across in life or in this career that I literally have no doubt of. Sure, I know there's tons of people that it would be like, oh, I don't know, because they're gonna want whoever. But I'm like, no, I really, I don't know. And it doesn't come from a conceited perspective at all. It's just, I don't know, when you believe in something, you gotta go all the way.
No, yeah, you're the right fit, and it's definitely one of those situations where Eddie Brock, Venom, the character itself has so much notoriety that you don't have to put a celebrity or superstar in that role. You can bring a new face. You can bring a fresh face. You can bring you.
Yeah, well, I truly believe that. I mean,
even the Venom, the Eddie Brock. People. You go online. You go online right now and look up Venom or look up Eddie Brock.
Right.
You're gonna see Josh Emerson.
Yeah.
There's people, like literally people you don't know all over the country and stuff, putting out blogs that you should be Venom. I think someone even started a petition.
I was just gonna say the craziest thing. I literally, again, all these things I'm like, I find either by accident or someone tells me about it. The only thing I really knew of from the beginning was obviously I made the trailer and a few other things, and I did a tribute TV interview actually where I don't know if I really like the way I came off. I think I came off a little pompous, even though I didn't mean to. I'm just really excited about this project. But even in the tribute TV, they're like, what are you doing next? This is when Gary was attached. This was when I had to film it at TIFF. And what's next? And I was all like, oh, Venom. You're so pumped about it. You're worried that sometimes it comes off wrong. But yeah, anyway, I'm shown this thing. Some fan page, in New York created a petition to Sony. Once there's, I guess, X amount of signatures, it goes to Sony petitioning me to play this person. I mean, it's things like that that keep me literally, again, I'll bring it back to the ring, no matter how hurt you are, no matter, cobwebs or, you can't see straight, you keep swinging. You keep swinging. you don't go down. And it's little things like that. The fact that there's people out there that, even though I'm not some big name, they're in the corner. And the biggest thing I get is the physicality resemblance. They're like, on camera, you're that guy. You know, it's like if you look at a comic book, there's no guessing. I mean, duh. That's kind of the response I get. And it's very motivating, to be honest. It's very motivating, you know.
Okay, so now, what is this that happened to you on set in Miami? Tell us about that.
I gotta be honest, that was probably the most obscure, strange, but amazing thing that's ever happened to me. It depends on how you view the world and things like that, but I remember like it was yesterday. I was standing at Video Village with a friend of mine, my Mark, the one I was talking about earlier. We were doing this feature in Miami, and I remember just standing there talking to him. And at this point in time, I'd been through some personal things, some relationship things, and whatnot, and I wasn't doing well at all financially. I had a lot of worries, and it was just a really kind of rough time. And like he was always very motivating and very encouraging, and you know, we were going through one of those conversations, and it was a really rough day. And out of nowhere, he brought up Venom, and he said, "Well, I mean, you're still pushing forward on that, right?" He's like, you know, I believe in you, and you know, all these, you know, all the other things I've seen, and you know, people believe in you, and this and that. And I think every person gets to a point where they doubt a little bit, and I was definitely one of those days, and I couldn't make this up if I tried, but I'll never forget it. I was standing there, and I was looking at him, and I was just kind of lost in the day and the issues of the day. And one of the crew members, he had between 10 and 12-year-old son. I had never seen him before. I never saw him again. And I was just standing there, and this young kid walked up, and I remember he had blonde hair, and he had a red and blue t-shirt on, and he tapped me on the leg. And I remember looking down at him thinking, you know, oh, maybe he's lost, or he wants food, or I didn't know really what to think. But he looked at me and he said, "I found this in the mud." And we both kind of looked at him like, oh, you know, kid probably dug up a rock or something. He gave it to me. He put it in my hand, and he walked away. I never saw him again. And I had it in my hand, and Mark was laughing and thinking like, oh, you know, that's kind of funny, you know, cute, whatever. And I'm kind of smiling, you know, it's cute, you know. I start moving the mud. I'm telling you, this happened. I start moving the mud away, and I clean it off. And Mark's literally speechless. His eyes were like, you know, it was like, there is no way that just happened. I kept it to this day. It was literally a Venom toy buried in the mud in the middle of the Everglades.
That's crazy.
A kid I had never seen handed it to me. I cleaned it off, and I've kept it ever since. 4 years now. It sits on my desk, and yeah.
Wow.
Let's just say that definitely.
It resembles you.
Yeah.
It resembles.
It definitely helped with that day. Let's put it that way.
That is. Yeah, that's.
Things like that just don't happen.
Yeah,
you know?
that's one of those things you could chalk up to being that moment where you come to realize this is what you're meant for, and I feel like that's that moment.
It's one of those things. I think this moment, and, you know, whether people think it's coincidence or crazy, everyone is completely entitled to their opinion on it, but it kind of put that that fire in me where it's like there is no other choice. I mean, this to me said everything. Even though I had everything else, something like that was just, you know, I'll never forget that. I'll never lose this. It was pretty amazing that day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, dude. For real. Hey, man, those stories is great, man. It's the reason why we do this. You know, it's every now and then, every actor I feel has that role that they're meant for.
Right.
You know, me is Big Mike. You know, read the credentials is like, yo, that's me to the T. You, Eddie Brock, Venom, that's you. Like even when you look at the characters in the comic or look on the cartoon, you look just like the dude. Yeah. I think I even seen a picture with your face and his face like both together. It's crazy. Yeah, because in comparison, there's no one better right now that I see. Yeah, so
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. That's really cool the way you attributed that to Big Mike. I never thought about that. That's really cool. I truly believe in the most respectful, humble way. There's no one else.
Than Josh Emerson.
I just truly, there's nothing else in life I believe that strongly about.
Yeah, man, definitely. Congrats with everything.
Sweet,
and good luck on that journey.
You too.
And God bless, man.
You're gonna hang out, right?
Yeah,
cool.
We'll be here. I'm gonna chill. We'll check you out on the big screen. It's Venom, hopefully.
All right. I give everything I got, that's for sure.
All right, cool. See you later, man.
Later, bro.